Hi everyone, hope everyone's well. Tonight I am playing ASL scenario S42. It's a starter kit scenario, he says confidently. It is one more Hedgerow. I cannot remember which product S42 is from, I apologise for that. It is infantry only. I picked this particular scenario somewhat randomly. I literally grabbed all my scenario sheets and just randomly picked one. This is the one that turned up, which is quite good because I don't have a lot of time to play a game this evening. Like a lot of you, there are times where I want to pick up and set a game up and have it played in an hour, hour and a half. That is the case this evening. I have got the Germans in situ here. There's one slightly strange thing with this scenario for playing it solo like I am doing, that there is the Germans I think are meant to be hidden. Well, they can't be because I'm playing it solo. So instead what I've done is bumped up the unit strengths. So we've got laid them out in the hexes at the minute. I'll put them all into stacks. Or I may just leave them like this because I'm playing it on my own. But we've got a infantry in these hexes here. These are the objective hexes, these three here. They've got a squad with support weapons and a couple of officers, and plus there's two more sort of units here. The squad here, another squad there, and with a machine gun. Then in turn number one, the Americans will be attacking. And this is quite an easy one to solo because the Germans are defending, the Americans are attacking. The Americans come on from this side of the board. The actual board gameplay space is very small. It's basically these hexes from A to and including L, I believe. So it's not even the full, it's very small playable space. 6 turns, so will not be taking too long in terms of the rules. When I'm playing ASL solo, like I will be this evening, playing it fairly briskly, I would say. I'm playing it for the narrative. I'm playing to see if the Americans can attack and take some of these objectives. I'm not gaming it by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just playing for the experience. So there'll be some rules that I've got some home rules that I use when doing this type of gaming. If you're learning ASL, whether it's full ASL or start kit ASL, you want to learn by playing it solo so you're ready to play other people. That's a different kettle of fish altogether, but that is not what I'm doing this evening. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that I can get this filmed and played all within an hour, but we'll see. I should be able to. It doesn't look not a huge number of units. Don't think it'll take too long, but I'm quite interesting. The Bocage is just to give everyone sort of sense of location. It is in France, 13th of June 1944, Americans versus the Germans. So the Bocage is quite heavy. There's extra rules involved in that. We've got a field here, crop here, which I will be using, orchards and so forth over here to the top of the map. The actual Germans are defending some key buildings, I believe. Buildings. So they're going to be quite hard to get out. So the Americans are going to have quite a hard time of it. Just being able to dislodge the Germans certainly from those 3 objectives. We'll see if we can get the Americans can get any of them. And yeah, I'm going to crack on with it. So the Americans are starting to get into position. There has been a bit of fire backwards and forwards between the Americans and some of the Germans, but so far nothing of any great measure. And the next turn, the Americans are going to be using some smoke, and we'll see what impact that can have on the battle. Hopefully their tactics will be to smoke their way so that they can engage with some of the German units in close quarter combat, and we'll see how that works out. That was quite an eventful turn. First up, the Americans, they were able to lay down some smoke and advance through the smoke. However, the Germans, seeing the smoke across this field of crop here, were able to lay down some defensive fire and basically flip over the American counter there. So disrupt that advance in my mind's eye. I can imagine them, the soldiers throwing down smoke grenades and moving through the crop, firing their weapons, but the German defensive fire too strong, so they pinned them down. That's not a game term, that's just in my imagination. Conversely, over this side of the map, the Americans have made good. They were able to close assault the Germans in this building here and take that objective. They were also able to get into a good firing position as part of the orchard and fire into the Germans here and have pinned them down as well. Again, I don't mean in the sense of the game rules. Next turn, the Americans, I think, will be trying to keep moving across this field here. Americans are going to see if they can lay down some machine gun fire onto this building here and hopefully disrupt them here so they can make good and engage in close combat. So it's quite an interesting turn, quite sort of a turning point. So at the minute it feels like the Americans are aggressively moving across the battlefield, but coming under quite a lot of fire from the German defenders. So another eventful turn. The Americans have made good on some progress. So made good on this objective here. They were able to lay down fire and make good and move up and engage in close combat and win that, and have taken this objective here. However, this side of the battle, as the American troops are moving through that smoke, these Germans here are just not giving it up and were able to lay down so much fire to disrupt this attack here. So next turn, which is in fact the last turn, the Americans have got to, we'll see if they can regroup themselves here and attack the Germans here, and see if these two squads can lay down any amount of fire onto this last German stack here. But it's quite a what I like about these smaller ASL type scenarios, and like I said, I have tailored the rules significantly to how I like to play these types of smaller scenarios quite quickly. It's moving at a really brisk, and there's quite a lot of drama. It's quite a lot of you can imagine this playing out in your mind's eye and using your imagination, which I have really enjoyed. So the end of the game, actually, pretty much the last turn, nothing happened very much. It was a bit of a stalemate. The Americans couldn't do anything to make progress. They laid down quite some intense fire, but to no avail. The Germans, equally fiercely defending their positions, were able to lay down some quite a lot of fire again, but no real didn't really impact any of the squads too much. But that's okay, because what it shows me this evening is that these quick little playing scenarios, I really enjoyed this. I felt the Americans could have got it, but the Germans just tenaciously hanging on. So quite a good, a very enjoyable experience, and a really evocative, thematic sort of battle that played out in my imagination as I was playing. And that's what I look for when I'm playing a lot of these games solo. It's not a solitaire game or anything like that, but I'm looking to play both sides and see what happens, roll some dice, and play with the game components, etc. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is not a serious ASL blow by blow recreation or anything like that. I'm playing tonight just for fun. I love playing war games in this manner. I love playing full ASL as well, of course, but I love playing in this manner. It's quick and dirty game. Roll some dice, play with the counters. I actually use, if you're interested, I use a combination of the full ASL rules, but also some of the things I picked up from learning from other homebrew versions that people use, and a little bit of there's the retro rule set as well that's got some quite interesting features, especially more for playing solo, I would say. So a sort of combination, quite homebrew if I'm being honest, but the core is still there, and it's great to get out ASL maps and components and the rules, etc. I love all that. So a really fun, quick paced war game this evening. very thematic and lots of drama, which is, again, you know, that's all that matters to me. I want to play, I want to roll some dice, play some games and enjoy myself and have that sort of rich historical thematic experience, which I imagine. I think the Americans, what I should have done as the American player, always good to look back, I should not have moved both the squads across in the smoke. That was a massive mistake. Would never do that again. Should have had one group of Americans laying down fire while the other group moved up with smoke, which is what I did more at this top end of the map, and that worked really, really much better. It's quite a, from a defender's point of view, it's quite static. Played the Germans very static. I could play it again the reverse and have the Germans much more dynamically moving around the map. I could have placed less Germans on the defensive positions, for example, and that's one of the great things again about playing games like this solo. You can try out all different tactics quite quickly and just see how things shake down. It's a good way to learn tactically some more about the games that we enjoy playing. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've played this particular scenario, it is again, just to recap, it is ASL scenario S42. It's a starter kit scenario. If you've played this, I'd love to hear how your game turned out, see how different it was, etc. And please put any comments in the comment section. But thanks again for watching, as always.